Yo, John, welcome to the podcast, man. Thanks for coming on board. And hey, how's things been with you, man? I mean, we are friends. We met since the days of work, WRQ, 3-4 years ago. I mean, how's life been? For you, you're still single. You're not married yet. What's life like, man? How's COVID been?
Yeah, I mean, COVID's been pretty tough. Time really flies. Yes, I didn't even realize that 4 years have passed since I last met you. Actually, before COVID, we were really excited because business-wise, our trajectory is actually pretty good, and we are thinking like we're going to do better this year and this year. And then COVID hit us.
Did it hit you guys though? I mean, you're in education business, and we'll get to that. But did it hit you guys bad, or how was it in Malaysia?
Suddenly, everything became very quiet, right? So we. As much as we want to be very modern, as much as we want to be very digital, education is still very traditional. And how we reach out to people is also very traditional by going to fairs, visiting schools, talking to counselors and things like that.
Yes.
And when COVID hit, everything stopped. And when we try to go online, it doesn't really work because students are already using so much time, spending so much time online for their lessons, they are just too tired. So the fatigue is there. So it has been very quiet. Good things for us is that in education, we also have a very long lead time. We engage students since 2 or 3 years before they're actually ready to take the next step. So in that sense, we are better, I would say, in a better position. We don't immediately, like our revenue doesn't just drop down to zero, right?
So many people went bankrupt, closed down. I mean, so many businesses closed down. Wow, no, that's amazing. Okay, but before we get to the fun stuff, tell the audience a bit about yourself. I mean, honestly, I gotta say, I don't know too much about you. So I know you as the guy I met last time in work. But tell us about your background, your history, like what do you study and work with us from there? Like, where do you graduate from? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm actually myself a graduate from Germany. So I studied at it's called Heilbronn University of Applied Science. It's actually I'll say a nice sized city in Germany. Near the Black Forest region.
Wow.
So I was there for 5 whole years and I really enjoyed myself there. So that is my education background. I did engineering. And
how long ago was this?
Wow, I went to Germany in 2006, I came back in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to guess your age right now. You look very young. 30, 31, 32. 33,
36.
36, okay.
36, yeah.
Close enough, okay.
Yeah, so I studied engineering. I came back. I was in engineering for a bit. I did change companies a few times. I was exploring different fields of engineering. And then at some point I decided that I want to do something more. I want to be in control of the direction that I'm taking. And that's how I started going to startups and working for startups and exploring things over there.
So you graduated. Do you work for any other companies first before that?
I did. So I worked for the typical engineering company. So I started my career in Penang. I worked for Intel.
Okay.
That was for 2 years, and then I came back to KL and I worked for a Swedish company with a branch in KL. But I was outsourced back to other companies, to their clients in Sweden.
And you were doing what again? Sorry. And what field was this?
So first was in semiconductor, then was in telecommunication.
You were an engineer in uni?
I was an engineer, so I studied mechatronics.
Mechatronics, okay.
I studied mechatronics. Not sure if you know mechatronics combination.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it, yes. You combine electrical and mechanical and civil, mix everything.
And a little bit of software as well.
Okay, wow, okay. So you worked for a few years and then you went to work the co-working space and you decided to change your career to startups.
Correct.
Actually, just wanted to talk about that since we're on a topic which is very interesting. What is your feel of startups versus working in corporate? A lot of times people say startups, it sounds sexy and fun, but actually startups is a very tough world and most people they have very bad careers and they don't make any money in startups versus corporate where they give you all the career progression and growth. You came from a corporate which is Intel, you came from big firms. Why you changed to, what's the reason?
So, I think going back to my first career at Intel, I actually appreciate the experience a lot. Intel has a very good graduate preparation program, right? So I believe that is the same for many of the bigger companies, the graduate training programs, and I think those programs really prepare a fresh grad to transition to the working world. So I had the experience. I had to go through like all the trainings that they provide. So that is really unlike startup where we have to just learn everything on our own, right? We are pretty much lost. We figure things on our own. But at big companies, we are actually guided in the right direction.
Yeah.
But along the way, so my final corporate job before going to startup was engineer based in Indonesia. So I was in Kalimantan.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was really away, from more modern like lifestyle.
Yeah.
I was literally living in a plantation.
Wow.
Where I set up the palm oil factories, where they get the raw palm oil. Yeah. So I was in the estate. Didn't quite like, so the work itself is very challenging, but along the way I also seen how sad life can be in Kalimantan, and that got me slightly depressed. Not so much, but slightly. I was quite sad looking at the people around there. And there's a stark contrast with how much I was earning and how much my company is actually earning. So, and I thought I want to do something that can give a lot more back.
I see. It's all about the impact, right? So people do startups about impact, and you work in a big firm, you just feel like you're a small little screw in a big clock. And you cannot make impact. Was that the reason? Did I get it correctly?
That was one of the reasons. I wanted something more, let's say, more in terms of direction, instead of boss telling you, okay, just get this project done, save me money, finish the project fast, No, it's not about just making money for the company, but having, what kind of impact, not just I can give to people, but also what kind of working environment I want to create for my own team.
Interesting. Wow. No, that's amazing. Can you just check quickly that screen? Is my face clear?
Your face is clear, but it seems to be struggling with the focusing. It has been focusing from time to time.
I can hear it a bit. No, but no, because I'm moving. He said, but is my face clear? I don't know my face clear.
It is.
Clear?
Yep.
Okay, because I looked at it briefly, it looks like it's focusing on my mic.
No, it's still tracking. It's still tracking your face.
No, but my face is not like blurred.
No.
It's not blurred. Right? Okay, cool.
Unless you replay it, but from here it looks.
No. I'm still seeing it, so it's fine. Yeah, if it looks like it's okay, it's okay. Sometimes I say blur, I mean like really blur, like cannot see my face. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So let's chat more about what I want to get on, which is your new venture, which is very exciting. Tell us a bit about education and what you're doing. Why don't you share with us in a sentence, and what is it you're working on?
So, tying back to my own experience, me and a few other friends, we were all studying in Germany. And we noticed that a lot of Malaysians want to study overseas, but not many people actually can afford, right?
Okay, yes.
At the same time, we discovered that studying in Germany is actually such a great experience, and it's a lot more affordable.
Yes.
So people who thought that they can't actually afford an overseas education, they can actually do so in Germany because it's tuition free. So you save on tuition, and all you need to worry is about your lifestyle, how much you spend on your accommodation, how much you spend on your food, and how much you spend on going out. So we want more people to experience what we experience. We want more people to, education, I would say, the content, like if you're learning about physics, it's going to be the same in Malaysia, it's going to be the same in the UK, it's going to be the same in the US, right? So, but what can you get more out of what you are learning in the university is the experience outside of the university. And we think Germany has a lot to offer.
Okay, look, I'm going to be like a skeptical student that's hearing this, okay? I've never heard of it. The first I heard of it, honestly, I'm like, that sounds cool. I say Germany, cool, amazing. Why isn't it around? I hear UK everywhere, I hear Australia. I've never heard Germany at all until you first say it. Why?
I think number one, there's just no motivation among companies in Malaysia to promote free education. A lot of student advisors in Malaysia will just promote universities overseas that gives them commission, right? So it's all about money. And German universities can't do that, right? It's tuition free. So so there are just no motivation for agents to promote those universities.
Okay. I'm a parent or I'm a student, right? Okay, just taking all that away, which is honest, taking money away, what is the better education? I want to focus on quality education. What's the better education?
The better education, strictly speaking, right, is not going to any top universities. I'm not saying there are no top universities. There are actually many top universities in Germany.
Yeah.
The better education is something that suits you. So I think the biggest question that most people don't ask themselves is, what do you actually want to do? And how do you achieve that? Right? Traditionally, there is one very clear pathway. You go to university, you get a degree, you have better job options. But right now, that's no longer the case.
Okay.
Right? Going to the university will be suitable for some people. Not going to the university, taking some online courses, or just getting their hands dirty and starting their own business, trying something new. Each of these, I would say, has its own pros and cons.
Yeah.
So the bigger question is, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? And then you need to map backwards. How can you most efficiently get to that?
Okay, fine. Taking aside those self-taught learners, which I believe completely, learning yourself, university is not the everything, right? But university have its pros. Just talking about people who want to go university, who want to learn a degree, and that angle, okay, how would they decide? You got so many universities all around the world, including local. How will they decide? And let's say they want overseas, fine. They want overseas. How are you going to decide?
Wow, that's a very good question.
They know Australia, they have friends, they have family, they know UK, okay? So you're going against that. How does it work?
Yeah, so again, this is such a tough question to answer. But I'll say one way in looking at how to answer this is to think further beyond just getting a degree. What do you want after that? Right, for example, going to Australia can be fine. Why? Because it has a very good, it is different enough for you to get a very foreign experience.
Yes.
But near enough that you can come back to Malaysia when you need to, right? So
yes.
I think that's one of the plus points. At the same time, if let's say you are looking to migrate, for example, or if you are looking to work overseas before you return to Malaysia, is there a great opportunity in those countries you're aiming for?
Okay.
So I mean, that is another consideration. So it really depends on what you want out of your experience.
Who is the ideal person if they want to go to university in Germany? What's the ideal profile?
I would say, taking everything into consideration, the options available at the universities, the budget they have for research, and also, like for example, work opportunity after you graduate, as well as working part-time while you're studying.
Yes.
Germany has a lot to offer for students that are interested in science and engineering.
Okay.
Right. Just number one, there are about 400 universities in Germany. Right. So in total, right now they're offering 21,000 courses. There's no restriction on what students can study, but a good sum of those courses are engineering courses. That means that if you are interested in engineering, so engineering is not like something you can self-study. You do need a certificate, right? So for that, there's sufficient option in Germany, and then also because it's one of the aging countries, like for example, like Japan, they are looking forward to retain talent. So if you graduate and you have good results, it won't be very difficult for you to stay on. There's an opportunity for you to stay on, an opportunity for you to get a job there. If you take into consideration, that the standard of living is very high, which translates to better salary. The currency is very high. That translates that every 200 euros you are actually saving like 1,000 ringgit if you translate it back. Right. Also, if you are talking about lifestyle, some people, if you like work-life balance, Germany has a lot to offer because you can't really, like in Malaysia, you're expected to work late, you're expected to work on weekends to achieve, to complete whatever work that you're doing. In Germany, there's a very strong focus on having this work-life separation, not even balance separation, that, after working hours, you can expect that you have all the time for yourself, your employers or your boss or manager won't be disturbing you. At the same time, Germany might not be suitable for people who want a lot of those city excitement. Like for example, if you want to be out drinking at night,
Yeah.
if you like the mamak culture, or on weekends you want to be hanging out with all your friends at the mall, for example, then Germany is definitely not for you, right? If you like to have your alone time, if you like to spend time outdoors, going hiking, maybe then Germany is somewhere.
Everybody wants that. Actually, you just can't get it in Malaysia.
I'll say it really depends.
We can't get it here. I love the outdoors. I think anyone who goes to a Western country, they love the outdoors. Who says I want to go and stay in a shopping mall? And there's people who do that. Yes, and I must say Germany has still shopping malls as well.
Germany has shopping malls, and this is actually changing. But previously, back when I was there, there aren't as many shopping malls.
Yeah.
So how they do shopping is like there's this like shopping street instead, right? And left and right, all the shops and the different shops selling different things. And most of the time, cars can't just drive through the shopping street, so you can
walk
actually
in and like.
Correct.
No, I've been. So I came from Australia, and I've heard so many good things about Germany. It's so nice. It's actually very nice to walk in those streets and villages, and such a different experience. And I think anyone who goes overseas, they want a different experience, not go there and get the same experience.
I think the temperature, the weather, also helps in the kind of lifestyle. Number one, the air is dry, right? So you won't sweat as much. Even if you sweat, it just dries off immediately.
Yes.
And most of the time, it's on the cooler side.
Yes.
Which is so much easier to make yourself comfortable. Because if you are cold, you just put on an extra sweater.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are too hot, right, you want to just avoid being outdoors. So on that sense, it's easier to be outdoors in countries like Germany or other European countries, or even Australia in a sense.
Yes. Now, and Germany is known to be the powerhouse of the world, right? Germany is the biggest economy. So you want to talk vibrancy, don't talk Australia or UK. Germany is the biggest economy out there, right? And they have the most vibrant cities and the most Berlin or wherever it is, right? I believe they're very vibrant. I guess the question then is, okay, people who is considering UK, Australia, Germany, how would you help them make that decision? I'm sure you've been asked this many times. What's the few basic things they should consider?
For us, we ask them to consider number one, their family actually.
Okay.
But before that, we have always stressed in understanding what you want to do. As interesting as it may sound, free education doesn't just justify that you should just consider Germany blindly. You must also consider everything else. So, for example, if you think that what you study, like for example, you want to study science or engineering, number one, okay, then Germany is still a good choice. It's still a good choice for you. Then what else do you want to consider? Do you have siblings that also want to study overseas?
Okay.
Right. It is actually most families can afford to send one child to most universities that they want to study at. But not many will be able to send 2 or even 3.
But Germany is affordable, so you're saying.
Correct. Germany is not cheap, but it's a lot more affordable
compared to UK
compared to equivalent countries. So if you are studying in the UK, in Australia and US, you're actually going to be spending so much more there versus to when you go to study in Germany.
Put a rough percentage, what number more? If I'm still for same degree, same course, living expense thing, what's the percentage more?
In total, we are looking at spending about 200,000 ringgit to complete your entire bachelor's degree.
In Germany?
In Germany.
Okay, and Australia and UK? Would you happen to know?
Also depends on the city, right?
The major cities?
Major cities, you can go up to 400 plus.
You're saying effectively for equivalent university, equivalent cities, everything double the cost.
Double the cost.
Wow.
I mean, of course, like for example, US is big. There are of course smaller cities.
No, just say
but
cities.
even that is hard to get. It's hard to get by with just 200,000 in smaller cities in the States.
No, so that is very interesting. You're effectively cutting your costs in half. Effectively, if you go to Germany, you get the equal experience. No, that's.
No, I say there is another way to look at it, right? If you are looking to study privately, locally, maybe not the best to name names, but if you are looking to study at a private university in Malaysia, and if you are not from KL, so for example, you need to actually move to KL, and you are studying at one of those private universities, you will actually spend close to that amount. So I'm saying that instead of coming to KL, studying at private university, you can actually study in Germany.
Makes sense. No, that makes sense totally. So coming to discussing about running a business, I would say that we had a chat earlier, and you're not exactly running a startup, right? You're in the education business. You generate immediate cash flows. Tell us about your business, if you can share on how it works, what do you guys do exactly, and how do you help people?
Right. So first, when we first started promoting the idea of studying in Germany,
Yes.
immediately we found that studying in Germany is not so simple as just learning German and applying to the university. The whole application process is complicated. What documents do you need? What requirements do you need to fulfill? Right. So we found that some pre-Us are not recognized, some pre-Us are recognized, and not just that. The subjects combinations are equally important. How do you then? The next question is, how do you then choose between 400 universities, 21,000 different courses, right?
Yes.
And not just that, it's also very frightening to choose to study in a country where you don't have as many friends and family. It is less so in other countries, because in Australia and in UK, there are already quite a number of Malaysian students
There is.
right?
Not
And
in
there is
Germany.
not in Germany, so there is no support from the community, because those community does not exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So what we do is we actually package, like in terms of meeting the timeline. So there are 2 intakes in Germany. We understand what are. So first of all, we guide students what they need to have, like what are pre-Us, what subjects you need to take, depending on what you want to study.
Yes.
Right. Second, we offer the language classes. We package them all together. Back then, you can actually go and learn language from some schools, but they offer in stages, in the levels. And then we say, that doesn't make sense. If my goal is to study in Germany, I can't be waiting for example, if the higher level, they don't have enough students, they'll just wait until they have enough students to start the class. But that doesn't make sense. Then I will have to delay the intake to the next available one once I complete all the different levels. Right. So we need to have a back-to-back intensive classes. On top of that, what is the most important thing? Visa application, university selection, we need someone to guide them. And what we do is we actually have this very comprehensive university preparation program.
Okay.
So to help students to meet all the different requirements, and then it's up to them which university that they want to study and what they want to study. Our job is to guide them to meet every single of those requirements. Therefore, they have the maximum options available.
So, and how do you make money from all this?
So this is going to be very contradicting, right? Business, we need money to survive.
Yes.
But at the same time, we are not just about making money, right? The balance is, how can we help students and still make it easy for them to think, okay, Germany is actually a lot more affordable despite having to pay for preparation program. So we make money by running the preparation program. So unlike, for example, agents that help students study in the UK, we don't earn any commission because it's for free. So we run this preparation program, and we hope that by completing the preparation program, they are more than equipped to start their studies at the university.
Yes, and the preparation program is mostly language classes.
About its language classes, and the other half is like understanding the culture,
Yes.
and then assisting them with other things that they need. For example, we are actually based in Malaysia and in Germany, so we have a company there as well. So it's a back-to-back solution where over here in Malaysia, they go for German classes, and then when they go to Germany, imagine, okay, how do you pack the bag when you're not there for holiday? How do you pack the bag for 3 years of studies, right? So we guide them on that. When they touch down at the airport, they are most likely still very unfamiliar with the language. Yes, they have been learning language for some months,
Yes.
but they are learning it in Malaysia. Outside of class, they speak in Malay, in English, in Chinese. But in Germany, you don't have that choice, right? So we have airport pickup. We have someone that is there ready to receive them. We have arranged accommodation for them. We have prepared, for example, if you are landing in Germany on Saturday night, Sunday nothing is open. So what do you do, right? So we have to do the pre-shopping for them, so that Sunday at least they have some snacks, they have things to eat and so on. Even after completing the language program, we need to guide them on how do you select university. On this is even more complex, right? We actually have a series of workshops where we first expose them to the different types of universities. So that is again something different. In Malaysia, we know what a university is, And if you don't go to university, maybe let's say you're more inclined in technical fields, you go to a vocational school. In Germany, there's a lot of in-betweens. There are universities with focus in technical studies, so University of Applied Sciences, for example. And those can't be, those are actually not vocational schools, they are actually universities. So how do you then choose between studying at university and the University of Applied Science? So we assist students, we make them aware of the differences. We understand from them what they want to study. We then propose a list of universities based on which courses are famous there. So we don't look at uni ranking per se, we look at which university is famous for that particular course, and that actually makes a lot more sense.
What do you call this role you're providing actually? Because it's more than just uni advice or uni counseling. What is this that you call actually? So you're handholding them even after they join the uni, is to support them.
Correct. I don't know, we like to think of ourselves as their friend when they are in Germany, right? So a friend helps them.
What if they didn't have you and they just went there by themselves? Because there are people who do that in Australia and UK. I'm assuming people just go on in China, they go to foreign uni and they just go there. Is that how it works? Because I came from Australia and I was studying in Australia for 3 years before I went to uni, so I roughly knew what it's like. How's it like for foreigners here? Can you just go there by themselves?
I would say it's possible,
Okay.
but you need to really do your homework. You really need to really research online. You, like for example, there are German bodies that actually help international students to understand how do you apply and study in Germany. So they have all of this that is available.
Okay.
However, getting this information itself is a challenge. Back then, it's even worse because all of these websites, even if it's online, the content is in German.
Okay.
And Google Translate was not available back then, right? Now it's getting better. I would say, if anything, it's getting easier for someone to go to Germany on their own right now. Why? Because when I was there in 2006, all courses are offered in German. So I have no choice. If I want to be studying there for free, I need to learn German.
You speak good German now, I'm guessing.
I used to speak better German because I have been, I've been away. I mean, I left Germany for some time, but I did my entire course in German. But right now, the option is there for you to learn in English. So you can actually go there without learning German. Having said that, having lived in Germany, I can tell you that if you choose to study in English, that is fine. But your option to stay on after that is not very bright. So if you are looking at, okay, do I want to earn allowance while I'm studying there? Because students can work part-time job. Do I want an allowance to, for example, travel around Europe, visiting other countries during my summer break, which is like 2 months? Do I want to stay back after I graduate to get working experience before I consider whether that is a country that I want to retire or I want to come back or try other countries? I would say having German is a big advantage.
You need German, you cannot get a good job without German.
I'll be very careful with that. I would say Germany has become so much more modern right now. Modern to say that they're attracting a lot of foreign investment. So you have like big companies from other countries opening, HQs in Germany as well. So correct. So in some cases, if you are really such an amazing talent, you have an opportunity to work for those companies and you could get by without German. But what if you're not one of those lucky ones that are employed there? Not knowing German will put you at such a big disadvantage because you have less option.
No, it makes sense. I would say that most people there, they can't speak English. On average, they can't speak English.
Most younger Germans are able to speak English, but I would say that if you put in the effort to speak German, they will open up to you a lot more, right? It's like more brother, hey bro. If you speak in English, they will struggle, right? No matter how bro they are struggling there inside they're trying to translate.
It's not their first language. Not like Malaysia where English sometimes is our first language.
A lot of them learn English, but they don't speak it as much, right? So like for example, in Malaysia, we go to the cinema, we watch foreign movies in English. But in Germany, everything is dubbed.
Oh, I see.
So they really, to the extent. So you don't, Germans themselves don't have that much opportunity to speak in English. So they will actually struggle.
Okay, so if they dub the movies, it tells me in English, they're not their first. Okay, even up to now.
So right now, the big cinemas, will all still be dubbed, so all movies are still going to be dubbed in German. But there are smaller independent ones where you can actually view
so
movies
really,
in English.
English is not their first language then?
It's probably one of the more popular foreign language, but also remember one thing, in Europe it's kind of like every country has their own languages, right? And they have an option not to learn English, but also why not learn Spanish? Why not learn French, right? Those are the countries that are surrounding them, right? And because Germany is such a big superpower in Europe, right? If people want to deal with them, if people want to do business with them, they are more likely, inclined to learn German.
No, makes sense, understand that. So if I can say that clearly you're providing people a unique support that they still need, right? And I think more so is you're giving them the awareness. Because when I first heard this idea, it makes sense, because if you're saying the cost, and you're saying the thing why is so much more affordable is because the commission structure in Germany for universities. Is it like, why is unis in Germany more affordable?
No, unis in Germany is affordable because they do not impose tuition fees.
Okay.
So you cut off the entire tuition. The commission structure is the exposure. Because of commission, German universities don't have as much exposure in Malaysia.
Yes.
Yeah. Why is education free? It is actually just how they think. They believe that education should be made available, and it should not be, exclusive to people who are more wealthy. Right? That is one. Number two is because their industry is so advanced, they are world leaders in many of the different fields. Right? So even take cars, for example, because it's so easy, such an easy example. In Malaysia, all of us, we want to be driving like Mercedes, BMW, right? And there's so many more brands out there that come from Germany. The point is, those companies need very good talent. That is one. Number two, they are aware that their population is aging. Many of Germans are retiring, and they don't have enough young people to replace them. Now, for a country which is so advanced, all they need is talent. They cannot depend on natural resources.
I see.
Yeah. So if they can attract the best minds from all around the world by giving them good education,
interesting.
They're actually investing in themselves.
Yes.
So this is where the structure is a bit unique as well, because governments or public universities in Germany are funded not just by the government. It's not 100% the government's responsibility. The industry, the companies are funding them as well. So they do not have an issue with money. They have so much money for research, so much money for projects, and again, students benefit because they will be taking part in these projects.
No, that's interesting. So that means you as the advisor, you're not incentivized in any way to say one uni or another. You have no favoritism.
We have no favoritism, correct.
Because a lot of unis, they will sell you the uni that gives them the most commission, even though it's against the customer's interest.
Correct.
Right.
So, in a way, we are able to not worry so much about, hey, uni A gives me this much commission, and this uni may be better, but the commission is really not so good, right?
Customer, right?
Yeah. I mean, for us, we can really guide them. Going through the process, what they want to study, understanding what they really want, and give them that.
Because you're aligned with them.
We are aligned with them, correct.
Okay. And German unis are free even for foreigners. It's free for anyone who
It's free for anyone who meets the requirement to study there. There is one tiny exception to that. So there are 16 states in Germany. One of the states decided that international students should pay something.
Okay.
So it's 3,000 euros a year. So that translates to like 15,000 ringgit.
Okay, it's comparatively it's still a small amount, but it's still got 15 states, right? And where does the 20,000 cost come from for 3 years?
So it's living expenses.
Okay, after you convert to euros.
Because yes, correct. Because like for example, if rent in most cities will be about 400 euros, right? And that's like already 2,000 ringgit.
No, that's very interesting. One thing I wanted to bounce off you, so it sounds to me like a no-brainer, right? What is the biggest challenges to get Malaysians to study in German unis? Or Malaysian parents?
So we see a trend where Malaysian students want to graduate soon. They want to be in the workforce soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly speaking, because German universities only recognize some pre-use,
Okay.
And also you need to learn language. So learning language itself will cost them an additional
It's a
year.
requirement, you're saying.
So most of the course taught at the bachelor's degree level are taught in German. So it will be a requirement. It's not 100%, but for the majority, it will be a requirement. It's taught in German. So you need to invest, for example, 1.5 years for your A level. You need to invest 1 year to learn German, and then only you can apply to the university. Compared to your other peers that choose to study locally or that choose to study in other countries, there will already be, the first year of university before you even start.
They speed up by 1.5 years. So is that the biggest blocker to a lot of people when they hear this? Because it sounds very straightforward. Save money sounds good, Germany, but you tell me this, right? Is this the biggest blocker?
The biggest blocker is the concept that learning a language is not an investment, but a time waster. So they actually need to make a distinction. Learning a skill, right, is something you keep with you.
Yes.
Right? And even if you choose not to stay in Germany, it's still a skill. It's still something that sets you apart from other people.
Yes.
Right? And to me, I like to point out to them also, if you come back to Malaysia, there are also 400 German companies in Malaysia alone. There are many more companies, German companies that's based in Singapore, that are based in other parts of this region.
Yes.
So you will be an advantage when you apply to those companies. Yeah, so to see that learning German is an investment instead of time waster, that is like the biggest thing that's stopping them.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And why is this a challenge? Why can't people see this? Or what is it?
I think it's us going against the voices that is in the industry. So it is to some extent student when they this is such a big decision to make, right?
Yes.
And they want to talk to as many people as possible, right? They talk to the parents, maybe parents have no idea. Then they go to the education fair, where they talk to many different representatives. Now that is where it gets confusing. If they talk to us, we say, no, follow like what do you really want to study. Then they talk to someone else, they say, oh, why don't you study this here? And then they talk to someone else, why don't you study this thing here? Then it gets really confusing. Because they are listening from just too many people telling them too many different things.
In all different unis in different countries.
Correct.
So so your message is not standing out enough. It's hard to stand out. Why?
Well, I would say our message turns head much faster than any other people in the hall, because we can say tuition free than not many other countries.
Yes.
Correct.
Then?
And I think the rest boils down to them really understanding what the universities are like in Germany, what is the experience going to be if they study in Germany. And then they should ask themselves a deeper question, like if I choose to go to other countries or if I choose to study locally, what are going to be my pros, what are going to be my cons, and then you need to evaluate yourself what is for you.
Yeah, no, that is very interesting. And because I must say again, when I first heard the idea, it makes sense. And when you said the word tuition free, I'm like, wow, right? And when I heard Germany, I'm like, no, I mean, it's not like some scam or anything. I believe Germany does this, and yes, it makes sense for Germany. And Germany is the most popular country for immigrants from the refugees.
Refugees, they have like a pro.
Germany, because Germany is the most friendly city, the most welcoming. Well, it used to be, I believe it still is. So it makes sense. Then I heard this. One unique blocker for them, which if they see it's not as a blocker but it's actually an investment, it makes total sense. That's the thing, and if I can safely say so, you are the minority in the whole fair. The whole fair was going to UK. A lot of Australians, a lot of UK, a lot of countries. Are you the only player in the market for Germany?
We are not the only player. There are a few others.
You guys are minority as a group. You guys are minority compared to the UK.
Correct. And also, I think another thing that I believe why people still choose to go to other countries is because growing up, they have set this expectation already. Like growing up, everyone thinks of studying in the UK or studying in Australia because their cousins, their friends, they're all going there. Correct. So we are going against like many years of expectation. I'm going to study hard because I want to go to Australia. Then all of a sudden, when they finish their studies, I'm ready to go now. Then we say, hey, no, hello. Maybe you want to consider going to Germany instead, and that to them is like, oh, but I've already been eyeing Australia for the longest time, for example.
That's what we realize. I can say so even for our company Collective. We even tell people sometimes, you want to go overseas, that's a good experience. But you go to local unis and you really have no money, you're a B40, come for boot camps, and selling boot camps is, yes, like you said, we have to face the same problems of selling against culture. I need a uni for a degree, right? So we sell different messages. I mean, not that we are competing against you, of course. I mean, Germany's different experience, but for people who cannot afford and take huge loans and all that, all the more. That's why I think you and I are in line in the sense that don't spend the bomb, get affordable. I think you're affordable overseas education, which provides a very unique advantage. So tell me a little bit about your journey running this business of yours, the education business, and I understand you have 3 partners, and yes, it was a complicated journey, but what's it like? I'm guessing this is your first time you run a business of your own. Tell us the experience.
Wow, I think a few, like maybe 2 of the biggest, or maybe 3 of the biggest milestones. One is starting up, right? A lot of well-meaning friends and even family members, they was like trying to understand our business model and say, look, we don't think this is a great business model. I don't think you're going to survive, right? Because there were no other players out there when we first started.
Oh.
So they're saying, when there's no one doing this, there must be a reason. It could be because the idea doesn't work. Okay. No, but we say no, we really believe that from our own experience that studying in Germany is a great thing, right? The only reason why there are not as many people is because the awareness is not there. And also maybe because there are not many opportunity for local students to prepare themselves to study in Germany. Option to go for classes that can finish in time for them to apply to the university, for example, and all those kind of things. So that is starting. And for the first year, we only got 3 students. So in other words,
my God.
Logically speaking, we were not running a business, we were just losing money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we also strongly believe that we just need to hold on long enough until enough people understand that, hey, this might actually be something that I'm interested in. But I do not want to be the first person. Like maybe I want to wait and see this company send someone over, and maybe I want to see and hear from their students whether that this company is doing well or not. So I think starting was really tough, and we were lucky to pull through that first part. Despite having, like, for example, a very small unit, for the
You're making losses.
We were making losses, and when parents come visit us, the first 3 parents were nice enough to give us a chance to send their child to us, and say, okay, 1 year, prepare my daughter, my son.
Okay.
Right. And after that, it was slowly getting better and better. The turning point was when one local college, Methodist College, they decided to partner with us to offer like a German pathway at their college itself. I think that lent us a lot of like credibility, and people start to believe, okay, MCKR has been around way longer than German Educare, right? German Educare, what they're proposing sounds interesting, but then there's MCKR that says, okay, this seems very real right now. Right now we have many students, but I'll say the most recent challenge, which I believe is faced by most other companies, not just in Malaysia but around the world, is because of the COVID pandemic, right? Right. So what happened during COVID pandemic? I was also telling you earlier that our business is traditional in the sense that we actually need to get on the ground, we need to go to schools, we need to talk to students and parents face to face. That has always been the case, right? No one make a decision such as this by just reading something online. It's not going to be an easy decision. They want to sit on it, they want to meet as many people as possible. And for us, we were calm enough to understand that we shouldn't be just jumping on to whatever the gurus out there were saying, have TikTok account, have Instagram, be digital, right? No, we were actually calm enough to really understand who are we serving. We are serving parents and we are serving their child. How can we help them? How can we reach out to them?
So be very focused on who you're targeting to.
Correct. And I think this applies to a lot of companies. Like some companies, they can go on Instagram and they'll do well, but that doesn't apply to some other companies. To really understand what you're offering and who you're serving, that makes the difference. Because if you don't have that clear distinction, and if you do not know where you're heading to, right, you are just trying new things in the dark.
No, that's a very interesting observation, and I think if you're just moving everywhere in the dark, you'll run out of bullets and you'll die, right? Especially as a startup, as a new business, right? So you have to be so laser focused, and that makes sense. I want to change the camera. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's good, it's good. It didn't shut off by itself. Just
It's
now, I
fine.
think it shut off a bit.
Okay.
No, but this is good. Yeah. So, can you give our audience some advice? And you're running, I would say, for 4 years now, German Educare? Educare.
Yeah,
right?
so we started in January 2017.
Okay, so in 2021. Wow, for close to 5
Close to
years.
5 years,
Close to
yeah.
5 years. Now, the laws of statistics tell everyone that most businesses, a good majority of them, fail within the first 1, 2, 3 years. And you guys have been around for a while now. What's your advice? What's your secret? Or what's the strategy? I mean, yes, you said focus, but give us more. Give us some. How is it like, to survive and to grow, I guess?
Wow, I think that a lot of things, some of the things that I might say could be things that you're hearing already.
Yeah.
But for us, is to really look past numbers. We do need to understand the business. We do
Yeah.
need to understand how we can make money, right?
Yes.
But to look past that, what are you actually doing? Is it something that is worth fighting? Are you convinced? Do you have the conviction to really pull through this, right? If you're only there to make money, then I'll choose something else that from day one will give me a lot more money, right? So no, we have the holding power because we are convinced that this is something that will benefit a lot of people. Number two is to be really clear who we are reaching out to and how we can help them,
Yes.
right? And only by doing so, we can start to listen to them and we can start to help them properly. Oftentimes, startup, they think of a solution, then they look for a problem to then fit the solution to that problem, right? So in our case, it's not, right?
Yeah.
We understand what we do, we understand who we want to serve, and we listen to them. And by listening to them, we have been changing our program. Our program did not start like this. Every year, we review our program, we keep changing, we keep adding, we remove what is not needed, we add what is needed.
Give some examples then. Okay, when you say changing, how's it been changing? You're referring students. What sort of pivots have you been doing? Like examples.
So a few things. For example, we realized that students will need support even after the program.
Okay.
So helping them to enter the university, they are in the university, and then we can just wash our hands. No, that isn't the case. Because at the end of the day, they are in a foreign country, right?
Yeah.
Then we understand, okay, we need something that is more robust, something that is staying.
Yeah.
So we need to build a community. Then we start to link our students. We introduce the seniors to the juniors.
I see.
And we want them to continue to help each other.
Yes.
Even after completing our program, the
Yes.
seniors will help the juniors. So we are nurturing this network.
Oh.
Right.
An alumni, a German alumni,
Correct.
basically. Wow.
German Educare alumni.
Yeah.
We are nurturing this network. And in fact, we are actually starting a HR company to help those graduates, the students who graduated from German universities to get work placement, whether it's in Germany or if they choose to come back so we work with German companies that are based in Malaysia.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Because German companies, they recognize how important their qualification is
Yes.
like, and they would rather work with someone that can already speak German.
Yeah. No, that is very, very interesting. And I think when I hear this HR idea, hey, it makes sense. It really, really does make sense. I don't have to think. I think it's fine.
Okay, well, this one you can hear.
This one I can see myself the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me about this vision of yours. Every startup, I believe, every founder, they must have a vision. And that's why, like you said, if you don't believe in the idea, right, means you have no vision, means you're in it for the money, you will not be able to pull through. And I must say, at Hacker Collective, we have met founders like that who actually have a lot of money or come from good background, however it is. But when they have no vision, money cannot buy that, and as a result, the startup becomes directionless and they feel demotivated. Even though you have money, so money doesn't mean anything at all, right, when you want to grow a business. So what's your vision for the business? I mean, to parents hearing you, to 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds hearing you, what's the vision of German educare, and why should they, you know?
Our vision is to have teenagers have better clarity with themselves with what they want to do, right? So my business is to help students study and eventually work in Germany.
Okay.
But what I really want to achieve is for them to step back and think, alright, let's not just study something because my mom, my dad asked me to.
Yes.
Let's not study something because my best friend is studying that. Let's pause and understand what suits me for whatever reason. What suits me? What am I good at? What am I interested in? What do I really want to do? And then try to find out which are the different pathways that will lead you to achieve that goal. And with that alone, we are confident that Germany will be able to be a good pathway to many of these students that have very clear vision. So our vision is for them to have clarity, for them to know what they want to do. And then, if let's say they are interested in science, technology, then we say, okay, come to Germany. If not, then it's very clear, you shouldn't come to Germany. That itself is a good decision. Yeah.
You know, now that you're telling me this, I can even see so your vision now is not so much even come to Germany and learn, yes, but it's really helping people make the right decisions. Because the problems you just told me just now, regardless of Germany, people face that problem everywhere. But someone say, if I'm not coming to Germany, I'm not your customer for now. But you are saying that Germany is your best bet as compared even to local unis, which is even cheaper. How does someone reconcile, okay, local uni fine, which is cheaper now, not talking overseas, or Germany? How do they choose that?
Wow.
Overseas uni, yes, we get the idea, cool, okay, we got the idea, good, it makes sense. What about local unis now? And maybe they have the money, not necessarily they're bankrupt, but they have the money. But good local unis or Germany, which local unis are cheaper? What's the thing? So
for this, I need to focus on engineering because that is my own experience, right? When it comes to engineering, I would say even if you want to study local, you really should consider studying in Germany. Why? Because, for example, as part of the studies, I have to do an internship for 6 months, right? And that 6 months of internship is valuable. And after that, I can continue to work at that company part-time, or I can also work for other companies part-time. I'm saying that you're working something relevant to what you're studying and earning money at the same time. On top of that, after you graduate, you have an opportunity to work overseas. So I'm not just talking about getting a degree. I'm talking about having
work experience,
a whole opportunity to be placed to be working overseas.
And it's a very big opportunity in Germany. Actually, really, is a very big opportunity.
Right.
I see. Very interesting. My battery's about to run out. That's why I
okay.
Plug it in. No, I just plug it in first.
Sure.
We can. The last 5 minutes we can finish it. Okay, I'm convincing myself as well. Here is well, I'm not studying one, but it's like, no, it makes sense. No, actually, it makes sense, right?
Oh, it makes sense for some people. It makes sense for some people.
So I'm trying to cover all the angles. You see. I'm trying to understand who does it not make sense to. You know what? I should ask you that.
Oh, can ask me that.
So you've been saying a lot of good stuff about Germany. Now people are going to say, hey, this guy is saying all the good stuff because obviously he's selling it. Well, who is it not suitable for then?
I'll say personality-wise, if you are the person that can't be independent, Germany is not a suitable country for you because you are expected to be an adult there. You have to do a lot of things on your own.
Continue.
Okay. Secondly, if you want to do law or if you want to study medicine or anything related to medicine, like dentistry for example, Germany is not the best option for you. The reason is because, for example, what you study in Germany, you will not be able to apply that in Malaysia. In other words, you can't practice in Malaysia.
Oh, okay.
So it can be a consideration if you are already thinking one-way ticket. if you are thinking, okay, I want to study there, I want to work there for sure, that is an option for you. But most of the time, we don't recommend, because we also do not want you to be stuck there, right?
Yeah.
So we don't recommend law and we don't recommend medicine.
Okay.
Now, medicine is really a weird situation because Germany offers medicine for free.
Yeah.
But again, it's not easy to get recognition in Malaysia. And
Yeah.
on the other hand, it's also not easy to get placement as well.
Yeah.
So that is the dilemma. I'm asking students to spend additional 1 year, invest in the language. So you are fluent in German now, and then you apply to study medicine in Germany.
Yeah.
But even if you apply to like 5 different universities and you can't get a place, you can't get an offer, then what, right? So in those situations, then yes, it might not be worth your time to invest 1 year and don't have that confirmation that you can get a place there. Because very simple, there's nowhere else in the world you can study medicine for free.
Yeah, I see.
Right, and that is huge saving because most of the time medicine can get really expensive.
I want to go to a bit more controversial question. So, are local uni grads worse than German grads? Really? I'm asking because you're telling me go Germany, learn there. They should be better than local grads. They should earn higher. They should be better. If you're saying they're equal as local grads, then they're the same standard. So are they actually better standard, better quality, better education? Are they smarter and better when they get out for the same degree as compared to local grads? Private unis.
I would say,
Government unis,
yeah. So I'll be slightly careful here. I would say that if you study overseas, not just Germany, right? If you study overseas,
Yeah.
you are actually already a lot more independent compared to
Okay.
when you study locally,
Okay.
right? Because you are in a very uncomfortable position where you are in a country with very different culture. You have no one to fall back on. You have to be independent on your own,
Yes.
right? And in doing so, you pick up many valuable life skills, right?
Okay.
They are very motivated people that choose to study locally, and when they get out, when they graduate, they are equally independent. They will be.
Okay.
I'm saying that the environment in general don't push them that way,
Okay.
but
Okay.
in studying overseas, it
Yeah.
pushes them that way. That gives them an edge.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, that aside, how about education? Okay, so you're saying as the whole package, they are forced to become better because they are forced to. Fine. How about German education itself? The way they teach just the quality education, is it better than local education if I just want to compare it? And how can local education improve then to be better than German education?
I think one distinction that that I find very interesting is that in Germany, the universities actually work very closely with the industry.
Okay.
So education in that sense is not standalone. Like the universities don't have to like guess what is important.
Yes.
Basically, the industry throws them the problem.
Ah.
We need to solve this. How do you solve this? This is the problem. This is the budget.
Yes.
This is our technology. Do something with it.
Okay.
And so what you are studying at the university, you can easily apply that. In that sense, you're getting an education that prepares you for working life,
Okay.
right? Having enough budget also is a plus point in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because you have money the university have money to buy the equipments, you know,
Okay.
and so
They are
on.
well funded.
They're
from
well
the
funded
private.
correctly.
Okay.
So I'll say in Malaysia, not to say universities are not working with the industry.
Yeah.
I believe they do, but I'm saying that it's not enough.
It's not as much as what
It's
Germany
not
is
as
doing.
much, correct.
Okay.
And I also believe that the
okay.
local industry are not funding the universities, but also, you know, education in Malaysia is on the overall is more privatized. So
Yeah.
it's a very different business model already.
I see. And I think what I'm hearing from you, and if it makes sense, because they're funded by Germany is funded by companies.
And
They
the
work
government,
closer.
companies and
yeah,
governments,
and
correct.
They work way closer with
The
the
industry,
universities
yeah.
because their business model requires them to work closer. Because if the company is funding a university, they want to.
Yeah, I mean,
give
it's
out
not just
knowledge.
that, it's also by the system, right? So
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier there are two different types of universities. There are universities and University of Applied Sciences. Now, professors or lecturers teaching at the University of Applied Science must come from the industry. And this is again something
I
different.
see.
What is, you know, who sets the standards for lecturers in Malaysia?
Yes.
So they look at probably academic qualification, but who
Yes.
looks at relevance in terms of industry qualification?
Yes.
Like, I know you have a master, therefore you can teach a subject that's taught at a bachelor's degree in Malaysia.
Yes.
But in Germany, that's not even the case. Like if you do not have enough experience in the industry, you actually can't qualify to be a lecturer.
Yes.
And this relationship is actually deep in many sense.
Yes.
Because not just they have industrial experience, they know what the industry needs, they actually bring with them the connection.
Ah.
So when they become lecturers at the university, the university then again form a relationship with the company they used to work.
I see.
Right?
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it is very complex in that sense, and I think it is beneficial to students on the whole.
Yeah.
In this kind of.
No, it's very clear. It's very clear. And if he works in Germany, and Germany is the world powerhouse, I'm sure they have the best ways of doing things. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. So, John, it's been really amazing to have you on board here with us.
Nice
is there
speaking
any,
to you.
Yeah, is there any closing statements you want to share, or anything of interest that you feel our audience would love to hear? That you can share with them.
I think maybe one is that regardless of whether the listeners today they are students or there are people who are interested in starting, right?
Yes.
I think having clarity is important, meaning you ask yourself difficult questions like what are you really representing, what do you really want to solve, are you really listening to the people you want to help? Right, a lot of times people want to do fancy things, even studies, right? They want to study at a fancy university, or they just want to follow their friends, or even in startups, they want to start a fancy company. I think what I realized is that for those that don't really know, working in a startup is tough, right?
Yes.
You are throwing away a 40 hours work week and replacing that with like an 80 hours work week. You need more than just the fancy part of startup. You need to understand how dirty you need to get to really pull through with your idea. So having the clarity of what you want to solve will help you pull through. People say, try many things and fail fast. I actually want to say, if you understand what you want to do, hold on to it, and hopefully you'll reach you start being successful sooner than later.
No, that's amazing. And I think as a final closing for the audience as well, maybe you can share a company and share, if anyone who's studying in Germany, how does it work, what's the price, how do they apply, how does it go?
So the best case is that students that finish their secondary school should come and speak to us already. Our programs are not meant for them yet. However, the reason is because we need to explain to them, what are the requirements. At that stage already, they should start to think what they want to study. So reach out to us as soon as possible and speak to our student advisors. Right?
How? On your website?
So our website is germaneducare.com. You can find us on Facebook, German Educare. You can find us on Instagram as well. We offer like free consultation. We are active. So like right now, fairs are starting to happen again. You can actually find us on fairs. All of these are updated on our website or on our Facebook page. Just visit them and you get new updates.
Interesting. And if anyone is hearing this right now, 50% discount. Just say you met them at the hacker collective. Yes or no? Okay lah, no, just say that you'll give them a special treat if they heard this from this video.
Yeah.
Most likely no one's gonna hear this because no one from your market is gonna hear this. So you get offer 50% discount, it's totally cool. But hey, who knows, man? Because we publish this outside. But okay, no. John, thank you so much for coming on board, man, and very interesting stuff. Really interesting. It actually makes sense. So I sincerely hope that it works out well and it should. It's just execution, and I think you guys are trying your best already, and you're fighting against culture, but it does make sense. So, thanks again.
Thank you.